What's up, guys? It feels like a long time since we last spoken, but it's only been about a week. What do you know? Anyways, guys, I have a pretty interesting video today. We're going a little bit outside of my comfort zone, a little bit farther away than I usually do, and it should be fun. Let's check it out. Guys, well, first of all, I would just like to say that we are restructuring not only the naming of this show, but maybe the format a little bit. We are no longer Colby's Vlog. So first of all, let's revamp the intro. The new name of this show is Roadside Showcase, and I feel like it kind of reflects sort of what I do here. I'm checking out these little roadside oddities and attractions and things like that. And ultimately the plan is to develop several different shows on this channel, this being the first, but that could be a ways down the road. I'm in the process right now of registering roadsideshowcase.com, and hopefully by the time this video is posted I should at least have the domain name required, possibly a placeholder website in place. But in the meantime, really all you're going to notice that's different about this show is the name change. I'm going to start experimenting with different formats, some that are a little less vloggy, a little bit more documentarian style. We'll see what works, but for the time being, I'm settling into this name change and trying to build a brand, and that's what we're going to do. But anyways, guys, enough talking. Let's move on to the main event of the day. Well, folks, welcome to Kenansville, Florida. Population, not very many. It would not be a fitting video for me to not start off my trip here at an old cemetery. Just like I'm the only living person in this graveyard right now, I may also be the only living person in this town right now. It's one of the more famous Florida ghost towns, and it's located right in South Osceola County, about an hour away from Orlando. For as barren and deserted as this place is, I'm actually pretty surprised at the upkeep of this cemetery. It's pretty nice. We have a Confederate veteran from the war, died in 1889, and somebody's obviously been here recently to put that flag in his grave. So I mean, the families of these deceased here are obviously maintaining this gravesite, and that's kind of crazy, because I've even like more well-known grave sites like the cemetery we visited in our first episode out in Sanford were not very well upkept. A lot of the old graves were in pretty bad disarray. Is that a pentagram? Oh my god. You know, this town is even more desolate and empty than I'd previously imagined. I was hoping there would be some stuff kind of laying around and things to show, but it's pretty barren. But I do know there's a couple of things right at the end of Canoe Creek Road and right on 441 that are kind of the main draw to this little town. Alright, this is built in about 1916. This is the First State Bank here in Kenansville. This building was built by Henry Flagler, and if you don't know who Henry Flagler is, he's a pretty big deal in Florida history. He actually built the railroad that ran up from North Florida to Key West, and it actually ran right through this town. This town is actually named after his third wife, whose maiden name was Kenan. And at one time there was a train depot, I believe, somewhere right down here, and the railroad tracks ran right through the town. We've already visited one Flagler town in one of my earlier videos with the Oviedo Lights, the abandoned town of Osceola. Pretty similar story to this. When the railroad went away, so did the town. Look at that old mural painted of the bank on the bank. That is crazy. It's over 100 years old.
Now, why the bank is interesting, it's what's across the street that has drawn me here today. Because at the end of Lonely Street was the Hearbreak Hotel. And while this is not Lonely Street, it is at the end of the street. I'm not totally sure what the building is used for today. As I can see, there are people here and power's on. It seems to be decently well kept. But the urban legend here is that Hearbreak Hotel was written by the female writer who visited this site way back in the day, and it was named the Hearbreak Hotel because, as the urban legend says, men would come here to commit infidelities. I don't think it's necessarily open or any kind of usable public space, maybe office space, who knows. But it is definitely being used. I mean, just look at this old classic early 20th century design. I mean, this is clearly straight from at least the 1920s or less.
So I just actually was invited to walk inside of the hotel. The new owner, who's a part of a wildlife reservation society or some organization like that, invited me, and he said he didn't want me to film because they did have some kind of a to the vest information plastered on the walls, but it's actually in great shape inside of there. Very interesting property. Maybe he actually gave me his card. He wants me to teach him how to fly a drone because they are actually buying a drone. So maybe if I get a little bit more trustworthy with the guy, we can find something inside there to shoot. But yeah, really nice guy and really cool place. But anyways, guys, that is Kenansville. I wish there was more to show. Unfortunately, no. Yeah, guys, that's it for this episode of Roadside Showcase. I'm Colby, and I will see you next time.